Sairam to all. Ekamaksharam hridi nirantaram bhasate swayam likhyate katham hridaya kuhara madhye kevalam brahmamatram यहमहमिति साक्षात् आत्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वतामज्जता वा पवनचलनिरोधात् आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम्. Sairam to all. The topic for the day: why fear when I am here? As Prashant mentioned, this is the assurance given by Swami to us. And all the Avatara Purushas and all the Mahatmas who have taken birth in the Bharata Varsha, why it is the Mahatmas, right from the Vedic time, this is the assurance that has been given to us. So today we are going to look at what is the fear and what is the assurance. We all know we are in this state of pandemic, and this emotion of fear is one of the most dominant emotions which all of us have been facing at some point or the other, either from the perspective of our own health or with respect to our loved ones, our near and dear ones. So let's start with this basic question. What is fear? And what is this emotion all about? And why do we need to go towards fearlessness? The first question is fear really a good stage or a good state to be in, to operate in, to do our activities in? Is that a really good state for us to be? That's the first primary question we must answer for ourselves. When you take up something like a society, probably without punishment, without penalty, without the concept of fear, probably it is very difficult to run a society. It is difficult to run a group or an organization in a disciplined and structured way. So a fear becomes one of the tools there to maintain social order. That is why we would find the concept of fear in our social law, as well as even if you look at dharma, you would have a lot of aspects of the papa and the punya. If you do this, you will get punya. If you do something else, you will get papa, you will go to naraka. So in the fear of going to naraka, you would abstain from committing papa. So that again, it's a concept of fear. But the fear is used as a tool for us to be on the path of dharma. But beyond the social aspect of things, for ourselves individually, if you analyze your own internal experience, I don't think anybody would be in a very happy state when they are in fear, or in a very pleasurable state when they are in fear. Fear is an emotion which most of us want to avoid internally, because it impacts us physically and mentally. So as an emotion that we are going through, as an experience, fear is definitely something that we want to avoid. Now, the avoidance of fear or the fearlessness, it can come in two ways. One is through ignorance and one is through knowledge. When you're ignorant about something also, you don't fear it. When you don't know there is a snake there, you will not fear, you will just keep going. Only when somebody points out there is a snake, the fear starts creeping in. So as long as there is ignorance, also there is fearlessness. But the problem with the fearlessness brought out by ignorance, it is that it's short-lived. Because the moment knowledge comes, the ignorance goes away. And then the fear comes into existence. So though you might want to try a fearlessness through ignorance, it is a short-lived experience and definitely not permanent. So it is not worth going behind. On the contrary, fearlessness coming from knowledge. Knowledge is permanent, hence fearlessness coming from knowledge is also permanent. But what is this knowledge? We also have knowledge of so many things. As I just mentioned the example of the snake, the knowledge of the snake brings in fear. It doesn't bring fearlessness. That means there is a higher knowledge that needs to be acquired for us to attain fearlessness through knowledge. Now, what are the typical fears that we face? This beautifully, one of the great poets, Bhartrhari, he speaks about the various aspects of fear. He says, Bhoge roga bayam, kule chuti bayam, vitte nripalad bhayam, mane dainyamayam, bale ripu bayam, rupe jaraya bhayam, shastre vadi bayam, gune khala bayam, kaye kritantad bhayam, sarvam vastu bhayanvitam bhuvi nrinam, vairagyam eva abhayam. He says there is fear in everything. The moment you start enjoying, you have the fear of disease, some kind of disease getting afflicted to you because of enjoyment. If you were to translate in today's times, the moment you go out and do and try to enjoy yourself today, you're afraid that you might get affected with COVID. Kule Chuti Bayam, you have come from a great lineage, from a great family. You want to always keep up the name of the family. You don't want to do anything that is against that name or tarnishes that name. Vitte Nripalad Bayam. The more the bank balance increases, the more you're afraid that you might get hounded by the income tax or the raid or X and Y number of people. Rupe Jaraya Bayam. You want to remain young, but old age is taking over the beauty of the body. So you are afraid of that beauty getting lost, the youth getting lost of the body. Shastre Vadi Bayam. You are learned, but you're always afraid somebody else more learned than you will come and challenge you, isn't it? And the final is Kaye Kritantad Bayam. You're afraid that one day this physical body will just fall apart. It'll just fall down. You will die one day. Kaye Kritantad Bayam. So that is the highest fear. So the world is rid of fear, completely ridden with fear. What is the solution? Vairagyam, says Bhartrhari. Being dispassionate towards all this, not wanting any of this, let anything happen, I remain aloof. But let's think through a bit more. When we speak about all these kinds of fears, we said the highest fear is the fear of death. But does the story end there? No. You again have a rebirth. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam, iha samsare bahudustare, kripaya pare pahi murare. Again there is a rebirth, and again all these fears start, again ending with Kaye Kritantad Bayam. Again there is a rebirth, again all these fears. So where is an end to this cycle, this chakra? That is why this chakra, the samsara chakra itself is called as Bhava Bhaya. It is called as Bhava Bhaya. Bhava is to keep on being born in the samsara and being subjected to all sorts of fears. Bhava Bhaya. The two words that describe the samsara chakra. That is why we would have seen n number of bhajans where you are requesting the Lord to end this Bhava Bhaya. Bhava Bhaya Harana Vandita Charana Jaya Radha Jaya Madhava. भवभयहारी हे त्रिपुरारी शिव गंगाधर साई मुरारी सद्गुरु ब्रह्म सनातन हे भव भय तारण कारण हे. Everywhere you are constantly referring to the Bhavabhaya. Either you want Bhavabhaya Harana or Bhavabhaya Tarana. You want to cross this Bhavabhaya. You don't want to remain in Bhavabhaya. Because this Bhava, getting birth again and again, is written with so much of Bhaya, with fear, ending with the greatest fear of death. Now, it is understood that fear is definitely something that we want to avoid. But before we decide how to avoid it, what is the cause of this fear? The Shastras and the Vedas clearly state that the cause of fear is duality. The fact that there is something other than you is the cause of fear. You can imagine for yourself, if there was nothing in the world except you, would you be afraid? What are you afraid of? If there is nothing other than you, what is there to be afraid of? So, if you are the only one, there is nothing to be afraid of. The fear starts when there is duality, when there is a Dvaita. And this fear is either in the form that the other could harm you, could cause hurt and harm to you, or if you are possessing the other, you could lose the other. So the fear of losing the other or the fear of the other harming you, both of these result out of duality. So the Shastras very, very clearly proclaim that duality or Dvaita Bhava is the main cause of fear. Now, if you were to say that Dvaita Bhava is the cause of fear and all of you have to rise to Advaita level, is it possible for everyone to do that? Is everyone in the same level of maturity to attain that Advaita Bhava, Advaita Sthiti? No. So, though Advaita is the ultimate state where the entire fear gets vanished away, the steps towards it are the sadhana that is recommended in our Sanatana Dharma. And the Mahatmas and the saints of this country have shown us the path how to get rid of this fear. The first step which they have shown, or the first way that they have shown to get rid of this fear is to surrender the cause of that fear, to surrender the thing that causes this fear itself to the Devata, to the Ishta Devata, to the Ishvara, to Bhagavan. Surrender the very cause of fear itself to Ishvara. This is called as Sharanagati. Surrendering completely yourself. The very cause of fear, the I, that which causes the Dvaita Bhava, that I itself is surrendered. How many examples have we seen of Sharanagati? Meera, the great saint of Rajasthan, the great Krishna Bhakta. Right from her childhood, she had surrendered herself to Giridhara Nagara. She had considered him as her devout lover, her husband, everything. There was nothing else other than Giridhara Nagara. Even when she got married, her focus, her concentration was all on Giridhara Nagara alone. She was a queen. There were some responsibilities of the queen. However, she was so much into Giridhara Nagara, there was nothing else for her, that even the queen, the positions of the queen and the responsibilities did not even appear to her. So from the world perspective, Mane Dainya Bayam, Kule Chuti Bayam, it is a Kula, Raja Kula. The name will go away if the queen does all these activities of singing publicly in the temple. It is a Bayam for the Rajavamsha. So they tried in all other ways to harm Meera, to get rid of Meera. But she surpassed everything. In one of the beautiful bhajans, विष का प्याला राणा जी ने भेजा, विष का प्याला राणा जी ने भेजा, पीवत मीरा हासी रे, पीवत मीरा हासी रे, पग घुंघरू रे, पग घुंघरू रे। लोग कहे मीरा बैर बावरी, नाथ कहे कुलनासी रे, मीरा कहे प्रभु गिरिधर नागर। She says, Vishika Pyala Rana ji ne beja. She knows that those relatives sent her poison. Pivat Meera hasi re. She drank it and she laughs. Why did she drink it? Didn't she know it is poison? Didn't she know by drinking that her body will end? She doesn't care. She knows she has done Sharanagati to Giridhara Nagara. She knows that Giridhara Nagara will take care. Even at the cost of the fact that she knows her body could end with drinking of that poison, her Sharanagati to Giridhara Nagara is absolute. So there is no bhaya, there is no fear. Though she knows it is poison, there is still no fear in her heart. The people are calling her mad. The people of her family are saying that you have come to destroy our Kula. None of this matters to Meera. There is no fear of any of these in Meera because she has surrendered herself to Giridhara Nagara. The other beautiful example of Sharanagati is Hanuman. Hanuman, the Dasa of Rama, Rama Dasa. What is it that Hanuman couldn't accomplish? Jambavan says in the Yuddha Kanda, when in the Sundara Kanda, when Hanuman is about to cross the ocean, when he's still confused as who is the person to cross the ocean. Jambavan says in our entire retinue, only Hanuman can do it. It is a statement that is not even attributed to Rama or Lakshmana, only Hanuman. And how does Hanuman accomplish the entire activities that he does during Sundarakanda? Only by taking the name of Rama. That surrender to the Lord completely made Hanuman accomplish everything. It is said that in one of the instances where Hanuman takes Rama and Lakshmana on his shoulders, he takes them to the seashore for the Yuddha. So Rama is asking, "Oh Hanuman, you are daring to take me and Lakshmana on your shoulders to the Samudra. I ordered you to do so, but you have not even asked the question of how will I take Rama and Lakshmana? Aren't they the great gods who have incarnated? How can I take them on my shoulders and go? You haven't asked any question." Hanuman says, "Why should I ask that question? You have ordered and I have surrendered myself to you. I am the vehicle, you are the driver. You will drive in whichever way you want. I am not to ask any question." That is the bhava of the dasa. The dasa bhava is you have given the drivership to the Lord. You are just the vehicle. Let the Lord drive you wherever he wants. You don't ask anything. You don't bother about it anyway. That is the true mark of Sharanagati. Tavada soham, tavada soham, tavada soham, Dasharathi. I am your servant, I am your servant, I am your servant. Whatever you say, that's it. I am not even going to question it. The other beautiful example we find in the Puranas is of Ambarisha. In the Bhagavata Purana, the story of Ambarisha comes. The great devotee of Hari, of Narayana. We all know that episode where after the Ekadashi Vrata, on Dwadashi, when he is about to break the fast, sage Durvasa appears, and the king invites Durvasa also for the feast. And Durvasa, he goes into dhyana, he goes to take the bath and doesn't come for hours together. And in the fear that the auspicious moment might go away, the king breaks the fast and Durvasa comes back. And getting angry at the fact that the king did not keep up his word, he releases an evil spirit against the king. The spirit is coming in all its fearsome nature, burning. It is coming towards the king to burn the king. In Bhagavata, it is said, Na chachala patat nirpaha. Na chachala means he didn't even move an inch from where he was standing. He was standing at a place, he's seeing the spirit coming towards him, that fearsome burning spirit. Even an inch he doesn't, even an iota, the king doesn't move. What is the reason for this abhayam? What is the reason for this state of fearlessness? Complete surrender to Narayana, complete surrender to Hari. That is why Hari released his Sudarshana Chakra, which killed the spirit and went behind Durvasa. Ambarisha doesn't know anything. He is just standing in complete Sharanagati to the Lord. That is all. Everything else is taken care of by the Lord. Doesn't the Lord say, Ananyas chintayanto mam yejanaha padvipasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam bhahamyaham. The greatest example is Ambarisha. There is a beautiful verse in the last verse of the Kandar Alangaram by Arunagirinathan, in which he says, what is the need for you to fear Yama, his pasha or his buffalo? Why do you fear it? When Lord Muruga, beautifully seated on the peacock with the Abhaya Hasta and the veil in his hand, the spear in his hand, is there offering you protection, Abhayam. Why are you afraid of? Shulam pidit Yamapasham Shuyetrit Todarndavarum Kalantanak Purukalumanjen Kadal மீது எழுந்த அலம் குடித்த பெருமான் குமரன் அருமுகவன் வேலும் திருக்கையும் உண்டே வேலும் திருக்கையும் உண்டே நமக்கு ஓர் மெய் துணையே. He says, அருமுகவன் வேலும் மயிலும் திருக்கையும் உண்டே துணை நமக்கே. His spear and his Abhayahasta is there. Naam irukka bayame, says Lord Muruga. Why fear when I am here? Says Swami. So all the bhaktas have experienced this state of fearlessness. Another beautiful episode in the life of Adi Shankaracharya. Adi Shankara Bhagavatpada had not many disciples. All of them were mesmerized by the Acharya. His charisma, his stature, his very presence drew innumerable people towards him. One of them was Giri. His name was Giri. He was a very, very innocent boy, but his devotion to the Acharya was so high that he just surrendered himself to Acharya's feet and he went with Acharya wherever he went. When the other Shishyas used to be learning the Shastras and listening to the Acharya and taking his Upadesha, Giri used to just sit in a corner and just listen to the Acharya. Though he did not understand anything, he used to just be mesmerized by the very presence of the Acharya. And he used to wash everybody's clothes in the group. And that was his way of doing service. One day, Acharya in the evening was about to start his lessons to his Shishyas. But Giri had not yet arrived. So the Acharya was awaiting the arrival of Giri. It was taking some inordinate time for Giri to come. So some Shishya commented, Acharya, why are you waiting for that Giri? Anyway, he does not understand anything. What is the use of waiting for him? We are your Shishyas, we are at least learning the Shastras. But Giri doesn't understand anything. Why are you waiting for him? Acharya couldn't bear this comment because he had so much of love for Giri. He knew the innocence and the bhakti of Giri. In that very moment, Acharya, through his grace, transfers the entire knowledge of the Vedas and the Shastras to Giri, who is many, many meters away, washing the clothes in the river. Instantly, he transfers the knowledge to Giri, and Giri immediately becomes enlightened at the very moment. And Acharya tells Giri, come here. And Giri walks through the river, not bothered about what is it, where is it, nothing. He just walks through. In another instance, another Shishya is washing the clothes on the other bank of the river. The Acharya just calls him to come over to this side, and even without bothering, it's a huge river and running in full spate. Despite the river running in full spate, the Shishya did not bother to see the force of the river and just walked across the river and went to the Acharya. It is said that every step that he placed on the river, a lotus bloomed there. And that is why the Shishya came to be called as Padmapada. So many Shishyas of the Acharya, they had placed themselves at the feet of the Acharya, surrendered themselves to the Acharya, and Acharya bestowed fearlessness in all of them. Thus, we find that so many examples of surrendering ourselves completely to the Lord itself brings in a sense of fearlessness, because the Lord is the one who is going to take care of it and not us anymore. Now, when you say Sharanagati, you are offering yourself to the Lord. What do you mean by offering yourself to the Lord? See, in all our daily pujas and everything, we offer different things to the Lord as Nivedya. But if you really analyze, do we need to give all this to the Lord? Isn't He the one who has given us all these? The money has been given by Him. All the things that we have is all given by Him. The capability in us to cook various kinds of delicacies is given by Him. The flowers and fruits and everything in the universe is given by Him. We are offering the same thing back to His feet in smaller proportion. So, the outward action of offering has got no significance, because you are just giving back to Him whatever it is His. His own property is given back to Him. So the external action doesn't have much meaning. The inner bhakti is what is the prime motive behind a Nivedya. If there is no bhakti behind, the external action is meaningless, because you are not offering anything new to the Lord. It is all that what He has. But if you want to offer something to the Lord that He does not have, yes, there is one thing that you can offer to the Lord that He does not have. He does not have ahankara. He does not have mamata, the possessiveness, the ego attitude of I that He doesn't possess. He is amani. The Vishnu Sahasranama says, amani manado manyaha. He is amanaskaha, without the mind. He is operating without the ego and without the mind. That is something that you have as ahanta, ahankara, mamata, you have. That is something that you can offer to the Lord, and that is the act of Sharanagati. This beautifully, Adi Shankara Bhagavatpada, he says in the Shivananda Lahari, in a very beautiful way, he says that, oh Shiva, what is it that I can offer to you? You seem to be having a, a golden hill, the Himalayas. Very close in the Himalayas itself rests Kubera, the Lord of Wealth. He is there close to you. He is your servant. You have the Kalpataru, you have the Surabhi, the Chintamani, all kinds of unique things of the universe is there with you. On your head, you are wearing the crescent moon and the Ganga. Everything is providing coolness to you. The divine Shakti, the very power of the universe is your Ardhanari, your Ardhangini. She is with you all the time. What is it that I can give you that you don't have? The only thing that you don't have is a mind, manas, that I have, I can give that to you. That is Sharanagati. Karaste he madro गिरीश निकटस्ते धनपतौ गृहस्थे स्वर्भुजा अमर सुरभिच्युतामणिगणे शिरस्ते शीतांशो चरणयुगले चरणयुगलस्ते अखिल शुभे समर्थं दास्येऽहं कमर्थं दास्येऽहं भवतु भवदर्थं मम मनः. My mind is all that I can give you, O Shiva. That is something that you don't have. So I can give that to you. And that is the act of Sharanagati. Now from the act of Sharanagati, which is the first step towards removing the fear, saying that, oh Lord, you are there to take care. Why should I bother about anything? You will take care of it. Moving to a next stage of seeing the Lord everywhere. That means I mentioned in the beginning that the very cause of fear is Dvaita, duality. How do I remove this duality? By seeing oneness everywhere, by seeing one thing everywhere. What is that one thing? That could differ from individual to individual. Somebody could have an Ishtadevata of Krishna, he sees Krishna everywhere. Somebody could have Ishtadevata of Swami, he sees Swami everywhere. The highest state is the Nirguna Brahman is seen everywhere. Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. The same Brahman is seen everywhere. That is the highest. But in the previous stage, that Brahman could get replaced by your Ishtadevata. And the Ishtadevata is seen everywhere. The greatest example is Prahlada. In the Bhagavata, the Prahlada Charitam is one of the most beautiful stories that you can ever see in any other Purana. Prahlada, you see the story of Prahlada as mentioned in the Bhagavata, you do not see a moment of fear in that child. In that child of right from his birth till the age of 5 or 6 years, it is mentioned. Not even one moment of fear. He is surrounded by Asuraganas, the Rakshasas. He has a father who is against him, who does not encourage what he does. He is against him. The entire kingdom follows the father because the father is the ruler. He is an autocratic ruler. Hence, everything is against Prahlada. If it were to be compared with a normal human being, the human being would become depressed, desperate, and he would even commit suicide. Because there is no one favoring the person, the child. There is nobody favoring the child. In that situation, the child, the Prahlada, stands strong. What is the cause of this Abhayam? Hari, Narayana. What all did Hiranyakashipu not do? He sent the royal elephant to trample Prahlada. Prahlada got reminded of Gajendra when he saw the elephant. And through Gajendra, he gets reminded of Narayana again. The elephant goes back, prostrating in front of Prahlada. He gives him poison to drink. He drinks it happily, just like the story of Meera. He drinks it happily, and nothing happens. He throws Prahlada from the top of a mountain cliff. Lord Hari protects Prahlada. Poisonous snakes are sent. They bite, nothing happens. He is thrown into the fire. He comes out even without a single scratch or a scratch. Hiranyakashipu himself gets afraid seeing this. Seeing the fearlessness in Prahlada, fear begins to build in Hiranyakashipu. See the beauty of Abhayam. See the beauty of Sharanagati. See the beauty of Bhakti. The kind of fearlessness Bhakti brings in you, others start to get afraid of seeing this Bhakti and seeing this fearlessness. Even when finally the fearsome form of Narasimha comes out of the pillar and tears open Hiranyakashipu, you can imagine somebody, such a scene happening in front of you, and a child of 5. The child is least afraid seeing all that. And after that, when all the devas appear there, everybody is afraid to go near Narasimha because that Narasimha Swami is in that Ugra Swarupa. Brahma tells Prahlada to go near Narasimha because he finds that Prahlada is the only one who is unafraid in that entire assembly. Prahlada goes, he says, why to fear you? Everything is Hari, everything is Narayana. What is there to fear? That is the secret of Abhayam. That very statement of Prahlada is the secret of fearlessness. The moment you see that Lord everywhere, who can cause harm to you? Can Hari cause harm to Hari? Hari is inside you, Hari is outside. Antarbahyara Zalo Purna Kama Dekhiyale Brahma Murti Manta Anandala Jiva Bhetala Keshava Gelo Bhavana Karoniya Kama Krodha Lobha Dambha Mohamana Anadharayana Rupa Zale Kaya Vachamana Tene Krishnarpana Kaya Vachamana Tene Krishnarpana Janani Tutana Swami Mani Antarbahya Rama Zalo Purna Kama. Antarbahya Rama Zalo Purna Kama. Everywhere there is only the Lord. Who else is there? Purandaradasa, in one of his kritis, one of his Dasar Namas, he says, Sakala Graha Phalanine Sarasijaksha Nikila Vyapakanine Vishwaraksha Sakala Graha Phalanine. A very common trend that you see nowadays is you will find people going round and round and round the Navagraha in all the temples. In the temple, you may not even look at the main deity. You may not even pay attention to the main deity, but you will have to pay attention to the Shani and the Rahu and the Ketu, which is standing nearby. That is the level of fear induced in people today, taking the name of the Navagrahas. In this Dasar Nama, Purandaradasa says, Sakala Graha Phala Nine Sarasijaksha. The effect of all grahas is you only. You are the Phaladata. Nikhila Vyapaka Nine. He further goes on to say, Pravichandra Budhanine, Rahu Ketu Nine, Kavi Guru Shaniyo Mangalanu Nine, Sakala Graha Phalanine. Surya, Chandra, Kuja, Rahu, Ketu, Shani, everything is you. Please don't bring another graha to me and induce fear in me through that graha. There is another trend among people. This month is good, that month is good, this paksha is good, that paksha is good, this nakshatra is good, that nakshatra, if you do something will happen to you. This kalam is good, that kalam, if you do something will happen to you. Purandara Dasa says, Pakshamasa munine, Padmakala munine, Nakshatra yoga karanunine, Sakalagraha phalanine, Sarasijaksha. Everything is you, O Sarasijaksha. What is the different kala and different graha and different paksha and masa that is going to cause fear in me? That is the attitude of the bhakta. The attitude of the bhakta is not to go behind these things and propitiate 100 things. No, that is not the state of the bhakta. That is why when in the Bhagavad Gita, when the 16th chapter begins, the Asuri Sampat, the Daivi Sampat Vibhaga Yogam, the very first quality that Krishna says for the Daivi Sampat, Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhihi Jnana Yoga Vyavastitihi. Abhayam. The very beginning is Abhayam. The first Daivi Sampat is fearlessness. If you are constantly afraid of something or the other, how can you be a bhakta? How is your bhakti? What is your bhakti? There are so many places in the Bhagavad Gita where he says, Vita Raga Bhayak Krodaha Stitadir iti uchyate, Munihi iti uchyate. A person is called as Muni, a Stita Prajna, a Stitadhi. All if he has given up Raga Krodha, that we know, attachment and anger. Bhaya also. Very, very important. If you are constantly afraid of something or the other, then that means the bhakti in you is still not mature enough. The maturity of the bhakti is still low. Because there is no trust in the Lord. There is no sharanagati to the Lord. There is no firm conviction that the Lord will take care of everything. Only that case does bhaya come into the picture, isn't it? So that is the state of the bhakta. This very fact is explained in the Upanishads as Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Everything here, whatever you see, is nothing but Ishvara. It's nothing but that supreme Brahman, your Ishta Devata, whomever you're considering, that and that alone is what is there here. I end with one small another reference. In the Bhagavata Purana, you all know the story, or many of you might know the story of the Bhagavata Purana, where the Bhagavata Purana is told by Shuka Maharshi to Parikshit. And when is it told to Parikshit? When a curse has been pronounced on Parikshit, that within 7 days he will die of a snake bite, and not a normal snake, Takshaka. Takshaka, it is said that it is not like a normal snake bite where a snake bites and slowly the poison rises. The moment Takshaka touches you, you are burnt to ashes. That is the power of Takshaka as a snake, as a serpent. So Takshaka will bite you, or Takshaka will burn you in 7 days. That is the curse pronounced on Parikshit. In 7 days, you are going to die. That is what is told to him. By the grace of the Lord, Shuka Maharshi comes and starts the Bhagavata Purana, Upadesha, to Parikshit. He tells different things to Parikshit. Finally, he gives the ultimate knowledge of Brahman. And what does Parikshit confirm to Shuka Maharshi? The confirmation of Parikshit is the most beautiful part of the Bhagavata. Because that tells you what did the Bhakta get at the end. He says, Hey Bhagavan, O Lord Shuka Maharshi, Takshakadibhyo mrityubhyo na bibhemyaham. I am no more afraid of Takshaka or any other form of death. In the form of Takshaka, Takshaka is just one form of death. I am not afraid of any other form of death. I am entering into the state of Brahman, which is Abhayam Darshitam Tvaya, which is a state of fearlessness. Now I don't care whether Takshaka comes and burns me or I die by any other form. I have given up the fear of death, fear of this body is no more there with me. I have reached the state of Abhaya. The Upanishads declare Abhayam Brahma, Abhayam Brahma. The Brahman, the supreme Brahman is nothing but Abhayam, fearlessness. With these words, I end this short offering of mine at the lotus feet of Swami. Hope all of you have been able to gain something out of this talk. Jai Sai Ram.